I want to first say thank you to God for giving me this opportunity to speak before you all tonight. Thank you for putting on Elena and Quick Heart to have me here. My name is Trell, and big shouts out to you for being here at Eat with a Poet Live. Make some noise for yourself. Awesome. So Elena hit me up and she was like, yo, Trell, I want you to play a scene. I said, yeah, you want? Okay, for sure, I'll definitely do it. And then God also put it on her heart for me to just share a word with you all from my perspective based off of the biblical content that God has given us. If you want to hear a word of me, say, speak, poet. Speak, poet. Okay, so I'm going to do that. What do I want to share with you guys today? Purpose. Let's do purpose. Let's do purpose. If you feel like you all have a purpose, raise your hand. You don't have to raise it. I love this baby right here already. Oh my God. Her energy is through the roof. I got a purpose. Doggone right, you have a purpose. That is so true. So when I think about purpose, there was someone who came to me not too long ago, because something I do is I do life coaching on the side. I also teach chapel at a school. It's basically like a small church service for the kids. I teach Bible, right? And it was someone who came to me because they know the things that I'm into. And they were like, lately I've just been waking up and I've been feeling like life is not what it needs to be. I've been waking up and I've just been feeling like I should just go right back to sleep. I feel like there is the same thing happening over and over in my life, but it's not getting anywhere, right? So I was like, okay, I understand. And she said, I feel like I don't have purpose. I was like, I got you. I understand. So the way I like to explain purpose is the same way I explain it to her. And by doing that, I asked her a question. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and on the count of 3, I want everybody to answer this question. Super simple question. What's the purpose of a chair? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good. All of you guys are absolutely wrong. Everybody's wrong. But this is good. The purpose of a chair is to please you. Take some time to think about that. The purpose of a chair is to please you. You see, the person who created the chair, they didn't create a chair because they wanted somewhere to sit. They created a chair because they wanted somewhere to sit comfortably. They had many places to sit. They had a rock to sit on since this earth was made. They had low-hanging tree branches. They had the actual floor. It wasn't because they wanted somewhere to sit. They created it because they wanted somewhere to sit comfortably. And it pleases us to be comfortable. Do we understand that? So, within comparison, when we think about our purpose, why were we created? Because in order for you to have a purpose, that means that you were created for something specific. That's what it means to have a purpose. So if you have a purpose, that means that you were what? You were created. So why did God create us? Well, the same reason why that man created the chair. God created us for his pleasure. Hard pill to swallow. The reason it's so hard to swallow is because we just want to please ourselves. So to think that we were created to please someone else is kind of like, oh, dang it. But the truth is that we were created because God wants us to please him. Now here's the beautiful part. How do we please God? Well, the way we please God is by serving other people in love and serving him in love. Serving other people in love and serving him in love. It's very, very important because nobody wants to be served if it's not in love. I mean, think about it. Let's take a moment and really think about that, right? Have you ever had somebody serve you? I can prove it. I can prove that everybody in here may have had somebody serve them and it wasn't in love. Raise your hand if you've ever been to a McDonald's in the hood. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. If you've ever been to a McDonald's in the hood, you've been served by somebody who didn't want to serve you. Okay? True story. I pulled up to a McDonald's in the hood. I pulled up and I stopped at the window and I'm looking around because no one is answering. And so I speak. I say, hey, hello? Hello? And then she finally comes to the thing and she was like, yes, oh my gosh, how may I help you please, sir? I said, Yeah, how you doing today? I'm doing fine. How may I help you, sir? Please, gosh. I said, all right. So I say, you know what? Let me get 13 cookies. Can I please have 13 cookies? She said, we don't have no cookies, sir. How may I help you, please? Gosh. I said, you don't have cookies. You're the Golden Arches. You know what? You're the Golden Arches. I know you got French fries. Let me get some French fries. Come on. The machine not working, sir. Can I? Gosh, how may I help you, please? I'm like, all right. You know what? Let me get some ice cream in a cup. I know you got ice cream in a cup. Can I have that? Ice cream in a cup. What is that? Ice cream in a cup. We don't got no ice cream in a cup. We got sundaes. So I'm like, all right. So at this point, I'm really pissed off. All right. I'm pissed off, so I did what any black Christian man should do in a time like this. I began to mess with her. All right? I said, you know what? Okay, ma'am, I need to finish my order at your window. Can I, sir, just drive around. Gosh, come around. So I pulled up to the window. And I said, so you're telling me that I can get a sundae even though today is Thursday? She said, what? What? Oh my gosh, of course you can get a sundae on a Thursday. I said, so I can get a sundae on a Wednesday? She said, yes. I can get a sundae on a Tuesday. Yes. I can get a sundae on a Monday. Because everybody knows Sunday be fun day. Hey. A lot of you not. This is what she did. Ooh, girl, come here, he killing it. Sunday on a Monday. The beautiful part is that she had a good laugh, we had a good laugh, I drove off. I mean, my point is that we do not want to be served by someone who doesn't want to serve us in love. That's why I will pass a McDonald's and go straight to a Chick-fil-A. Because it feels like they want me there. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they cookies all that, although they cookies all that. I'm not saying they got the best sauce, although they do got the best sauce. But the truth is that whenever I go there, they serve me in love. And that's what God is calling us to do. If you look at Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, he tells us, don't use your liberty to fulfill the desires of your flesh, but use it to serve each other in love. So, in order to fulfill your purpose, which is to please God, you have to serve him in love. In order to fulfill your purpose, which is to please God, you have to serve each other in love. In Corinthians chapter 12, it talks about unity through diversity. And in unity through diversity, God is calling us to use our differences not to benefit ourselves, but to profit each other. That means whatever gift God has given me, he's told me to use that gift to profit all of you. Not to look to profit myself, but to benefit you, to uplift you, to encourage you, to inspire you, to serve your purpose. This is what God has called us to do. And I want to share something else so beautiful with you. Is the fact that he's given us all of the tools we need in order to properly serve him in love. Because on our own, we wouldn't be able to do it. On our own, when somebody steps on our shoes. On our own, when somebody talks bad behind our back when we find out. On our own, when somebody dare pushes us while we're in line. On our own, if somebody calls us out of our name, we want to fight. But with the strength that God gives us through the Holy Spirit, then we are able to love that same person that does us wrong. So I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you today to understand something. That on our own, we are damned to go straight to hell. Because we are all sinners. But when we accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, we have been adopted into a family. Into a family where we will endure and we will be able to inherit all of the treasures in the kingdom of heaven. So I encourage you today to understand who Jesus Christ is. Know that he's died for your sins and he's already paid the price so that you can be brought into a royal family. So as we begin to eat with the poet live, I want us to really embrace everything that is happening tonight that glorifies God in you. I want us to embrace every way that he speaks to you that is leading you to the truth and not leading you to deception. Because we are all sinners saved by his grace. So, in reverence for our holy God, everybody bow your heads and let's pray. Father, I come here today, humble as I know how, first wanting to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to stand here before these beautiful people, your children who you love, your children who you sent Jesus Christ down here to die for all of our sins so that whoever believes in you shall not perish but shall have everlasting life. God, I say thank you. Thank you for allowing them to come here safely. Thank you for allowing them to have the healthy bodies. Thank you, Father, for allowing them to be in their right mind. See, Lord, there's a lot of things that we take for granted, every single day. I'm talking about the simple things that we look over. And the fact that we can taste this beautiful food that is in the plates before us, Father, the fact that we can see and hear, our senses that we just overlook, God. I want to say thank you for those things right there. And then, Lord, I also want to say thank you for the fact that you are consistently providing us. You have a hedge of protection around everybody over here, whether they've accepted you or not. So, God, I ask that we understand that you loved us first. And because you loved us first, we are here to love you back, God. Help everybody understand that, Lord, you want us to be a part of a relationship with you that is not selfish. You want us to be a part of a relationship with you that is consistently loving and giving and caring, God. You want us to be free from sin, Father. So in the name of Jesus, I ask that you bless this place tonight, God, and you touch the hearts of every individual up here, God. I pray that you touch the heart of Quick. I pray that you touch the heart of Elena, God, and I ask that you speak through them, God. Allow them to be able to stand bold in the gifts that you have given them to glorify your name, and in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Equal to Poet Live. Y'all welcome Quick the Poet to the stage. You need the mic, Quick?
I don't believe so, no.
Can y'all hear Quick? And that
I'm gonna try. It won't sound like this.
Okay.
Let's just say, let's try without the mic.
Y'all want to hear some poetry real quick? Oh, y'all good. Y'all, go ahead, Quick. Show them what it is.
You impact so many people. It is the man, the husband, and the father that you are. I will forever be life humble, processing that priceless compliment expressed to me in a deep conversation, shared with my good friend and poetic sister and rhyme Barbara B. Trader. Because I would never claim to be perfect. Lord knows how far I've come from being helped up off of that pavement. Sometime back in the mid-'80s, when a teenager with no license was joyriding through my neighborhood and collided into me around the age of 7 and almost sent me on a first-class early bird one-way ticket back to meet our Creator. As cliche as it may sound, I'm extremely grateful that the expiration date set on the elevation of my highway to heaven was extended, because very similar to Jonathan Smith, the good Lord above had a similar plan for me. And as thankful as I am to have survived that unforgettable memory that ended up taking me into the Broward General ICU with that powerful ICU team that miraculously found a way to close that hole in my head, and they stopped the massive internal bleed. It was equally painful processing 3 decades later from that moment, Back to the Future like Marty, processing how to properly handle my anger. Standing in the Miami North Shore Hospital on a reverse road. And unlike what my mother was able to do for me, I was unable to save her. With only one option to rescue, arguably my greatest human hero and savior. I had to keep going, spreading throughout the universe on those positive and powerful humanistic behaviors. It's no rocket science whatsoever to understand. I just consistently stick to following that fail-safe plan that I learned from Denzel and his wife, Pauletta Washington. Denzel, my ultimate dream life project are my wife, my kids, my family. And Pauletta, to get to something you never had, you have to do something you never did. My mother had many dreams that she didn't achieve while she was alive with us all here on earth. One of her guaranteed aspirations that survived her untimely death was her impact. Iron sharpens iron, as so one sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17 is one of my all-time favorite biblical verses because they prove it on the shadow of a doubt. The way my mother strategically stitched my soul to understand the importance of why I should always put my family first and why I should always hunt down any dream I choose to conquer. It was a fail-safe mission accomplished. So life humbled and honored. To forever be able to look up in the heavenly skies knowing that my mother is looking down on my brother J. Rod and I'm proud of the men, the husbands, and the fathers that we have become. And I will forever keep my extended promise. I will forever be my brother's keeper. And regardless of the arrival of dusk or dawn, on the face of any pain, evil, or death, I will use my global impact for the greater good of all mankind. That's what my mother wanted me to do. Trust the right process. My mother left a lot of good in this world. And I'm going to make sure that she rests assured, knowing that I have the reins on the rest of my life, the best interests of my family and the people from here.
Yes.
Yes, Quick. Yes. Poetry is a gift. Okay, so Quick, you need a mic. Hold on, let me pass you this one. You gonna get the other one?
Looking too magically delicious to be getting over there.
Listen, y'all, we gonna get started. So y'all know this is open discussion. We are talking about some subjects. Now let me just ask, did the people choose their topic? Did anybody choose the topic that they wanted to discuss tonight? Did you, y'all shout out to Adrian Carter in the building, y'all. Adrian Carter in the building. I feel so privileged. Shout out to my mama and my grandma and Anaya and Iana. One time for Erica from A.E.T Financial Services in the building.
Yes.
We got
Best sex agent in the world. Trust me.
We got Tamika Fossil in the building. Oh, shout out to DJ SOS in the building. Shout out to Bossed Up Chuck in the building, filming everybody. Make sure you got your best smile on, y'all, because you is on camera.
We got
Shout out to Rob in the building, Robert Bellissimo in the building at the
We got the
bar.
incredible Charles in the corner, Mr. and Mrs. Charles, man.
Shout out to K-Say in the building at the door,
Yes.
showing love, y'all. Yeah, so, you know, we had to get it out the way. Listen, I don't know if you guys listen to Eat with a Poet, but you know I have like almost a year and a half's worth of videos up on YouTube. So if you guys are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do. Eat with the Poet comes on every Monday on Strong Arm Radio, and we're in the building at GIGIS tonight. I'm so blessed that Quick is at this table, and Quick and I are going to be doing some amazing things, so y'all please keep your eyes open. Now, I'm going to pose the first question, because y'all ain't talking, but I'm really going to be looking more to my left, because I know Erica. And I know that she is one of those opinionated people.
Erica looks surprised, like she just want her fish.
So
that's how she looks.
So we're going to get the conversation started. We got Casey Jackson in the building, and you know we don't know what much of his opinion, but we'll see what's going on tonight. Did you get your subject, Casey? Did you pick out your topic? What's your topic?
Let me eat this fish.
What topic did you see that interested you on there? Y'all know we had 3 topics. We had love and relationships in the black community, or just love and relationships. We ain't gonna make it specific to blacks. Right. But we also had black men and black women in America, or just in general, men versus women in America. Ooh, Adrian, I'm so glad you're sitting in the front. That's your topic all day long. Men versus women in America. Adrian is like one of my favorite people to talk to when it comes to men and women in America, y'all. The man's so educated, y'all. He's so ready, on point, on time, all the time. And he has a few books. You're late. 2 books. Okay, and the third topic was what needs to change in your community and how can we affect change. Now, y'all think that question sounds simple, but it's really not that simple. I'm going to tell you why. But I'll tell you why when we get to that question. So Quick, I know you got your notes on you. I had the first question as love and relationships in community or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how I feel, y'all, and y'all can chime in whenever y'all, you want to. But this was my opinion. And Mama, Mom, I know you gonna be real strong on this, so I need you to hear me out and be able, baby, let her listen to me. Yeah, she trying to get her order in. I'm sorry.
Focus on the order.
Go ahead, get your order in.
This might open up Pandora's box.
Oh my God. Well, I'm just saying though. All right, so my opinion on this topic is deep because when I think love and relationships, I first think of the foundation, meaning the root of how we love and the foundation in which we were taught from like where we came from. How to love, how to balance them both. So I think that family first is what comes to my mind. When I think about that, I think about family because I have to think about what my mama taught me. How did I really get in the world loving people and understanding that it was love? So I had to take it back there. And then I had to realize that and learn that love was only really instilled in me by way of example. It was not something that my mom Mom, what I was saying about love is it's not something that you really set me down and taught me. You understand? If I'm being honest, my mom never sat me down and taught me how to actually love or how to distribute my love. Because, what happened was I was taught how to love by my mother through her actions. And, the things she would do, her acts of kindness and maybe, spare the rod, spoil the child. Maybe that, that was one of them. But then, and my father, through his actions and the way he treated us, me and my sisters and my mother. So that's what I saw, and that's what I deemed to be love. So also, my dad was a provider. So, however, I would go out into the world and, try to love based on what I thought or what I perceived from my family. Now, I know a lot of people, when we think love, we think relationships like your partner, your mate, your spouse, the person that you're with. But when I think about it, I go back to, as a poet, quite naturally, I go all the way back to that, the foundation, because how do you actually get 100% in a relationship, understanding your position, the person's position, if you don't really know how love and relationships work? What's your opinion on that, quick?
I'll say, at least from my perspective, I stated it kind of in various phases in my poem. My mom, when she passed last year, January 15th, 2021, I've dealt with death before, but that without a doubt was the most challenging death that I've ever dealt with in my life. It was. My mom was an incredible example of being a true human. Even on her worst day, I unconditionally loved her. And what I had a chance to do was, with growing up in the household with my mom and my brother and my stepfather and my stepsister, I had a chance to really, really see how that balance worked. What's crazy is that my father, he did really, really well with himself. Him and his family are in Houston, Texas. And I took an opportunity when I graduated from Missouri Western State College and University. I was sitting in front of my stadium, and I had a chance to really, really be up front with my father and talking about exactly what you're referring to, the balance of that love. And I had a chance to tell him up front, we appreciated the financial part. My father never missed in any form of need in that regard. But where I know he could have done a much better job, and when he dropped the ball at, it was the emotional part. And people got to get used to holding people accountable for their actions. No matter whether it's a man or a woman, it's just holding that actual person in particular when it comes to the accountability of love for their actions. That's something I miss about with my mom. With dealing with people across the board, because we're so in fear of checking that person and telling that person the right way. And it's not so much about yelling at them or screaming at them or cursing at them. We seek certain things from people, and we request it. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. But a lot of the time, it's not reciprocated. My mom was consistent about that.
And what I loved about her was she demanded that energy regardless of whom we were around. You know, and it wasn't a forceful action, it was her presence. You know, we had an elite respect for my mother when it came to love. And I can't thank her enough for that, because that's what I exude, you know, honestly, home to my wife and my children. No household was perfect by any means, but it taught me a balance of understanding of how to handle that. You know, finding that right level of energy to deal with when it comes to love, because we also still live in a society now where they express and saying, and you know how I go with it, especially when it comes with men, black men, you know, you can't cry, you can't demand please. You getting all this good, honest energy from me.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
You know, it's important. But that also comes with the balance of the understanding of getting that same love from your mate. There are going to be some great days and there are going to be some terrible days.
And I think that's kind of what I was talking about when we even get to that part. Like, the hardest part is getting there and understanding how to be in your relationship with your mate, because, you know, they always say, oh, you don't know somebody until you live with them. But then in the Bible, you ain't supposed to be living with nobody until you're married.
Right.
So, you know, the interesting part is, if we don't know how to love from the beginning, when we do actually come together, because this love thing has been an experiment for so long, for so many years, you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of single women can speak to, you know, just still being single because of whatever trials and tribulations that you face in a relationship, where you're like, you know what, hey, I ain't saying you single, I ain't looking at you saying you a single woman, I'm just saying in general. But let me ask you, what do you think about love and relationships in today, just in general? When you think love and relationship, what comes to mind?
And I say that because, like,
I'll say that. Stay in peace. No, go ahead. Speak in peace, Queen.
no, I'm just saying because, like, the last guy, for example, that I was really interested in, he was dealing with issues in his past, which stopped him from being able to be in the present. And because he didn't deal with those things, you know, it transpired. And so feelings get involved because you're still going out, you know, you're still around each other. Those feelings just don't go away. But I think we all have to get to a point where we deal with the pain.
Yeah.
You know, get beyond the past. You know, because if you don't deal with it, it's gonna follow you. And many times, especially in our adulthood, things that transpire in our childhood.
Yeah.
It goes.
And that's what I was saying, the foundation.
Yes, it starts there. Because for me, my mom, she wasn't really like that person. You know, to like hug on you, to tell you I love you. I think the first time I received a hug from my mom, like for real, was when my father passed away. And that was my first time ever seeing her cry.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the older she is now, you hug all the time.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't have that growing up. And so I could be very emotionless. And I had to realize that in myself.
And do you think that played a role in the relationship? Because I know a lot of times too, it's easier for us to see what other people's issues are. So for you, you saw he had a lot of baggage, and I think that's like one of the main things, and that'll get into the next question, where it's the men versus women, because like, where do we, like Quick was saying, hold ourselves accountable for where things don't work out? You know what I'm saying?
If that was me, I was easy to cut you off.
Yeah. Because you have a low tolerance for
that too, but then too, when I feel like they start liking me, you know, it's something about that I would just run away. But
because you're emotionless.
Yes,
I
had to
see
see that in myself. But I recognize that, and that's a lot of times we don't like to face ourselves.
Right.
You know, we don't like to deal with the person that people don't see.
Yeah, the person they don't know or need to know until they really know us. That's what's up. Erica had a comment quick with the mic. Is it gonna reach? Oh, it ain't gonna reach. Oh man. Okay.
Erica told me, say she needed to get up. Yes, ma'am.
So basically, I wanted to kind of touch on just kind of a little bit of maybe So relationships with men and women, my intake on it is, a lot of them are not working out because people don't know how to be alone. And what I mean by that is, when they feel lonely and they have their issues and they have their problems that they need to work on individually, a lot of times they tend to bring other people constantly because they don't want to deal and work on their stuff because it's a season.
Yeah.
And because they're not doing that, what tends to happen is I bring this person in on my issues and now I mess them up, and
Yeah.
now they have the problems that I have on
Yeah.
top of whatever else they have. I just think in today's society, we have to basically learn how to be able to be a whole us.
Yeah.
Before we start to get into a relationship, to be able to, you can't love someone else when you don't love yourself.
That's it.
And until you learn how to love yourself,
That's
you
it.
try to bring other people into your space without learning how to love yourself.
That's what's up. Oh, Mama, you quick, you can't get over there with the mic on. Mom, come to the mic. You want to come to the mic? Yeah, let's hear what the pastor got to say. Evangelist.
No, I kind of want to piggyback on what Quick said about the lack of touching and love from a father, you know. And I think it's as we grow and we develop our own self, it's how we see things. Because I remember my father was such a strong man. I mean, his presence made me know that no matter what went down, Daddy had my back. You know, the presence that, you know, I remember once when my father told me, I told my sister, because we had a big property, I said, tell him I'm not home. And then my father heard me say that. And he said, baby, what you said? I told her to tell him I wasn't here. He said, listen, you see them gates out there? When you cross them gates, you don't run from nobody. And his presence was so great to me that I knew who he was in my life, that I didn't realize until I was maybe 50 years old that Daddy didn't always say I love you. But it's what he did that made me know what love looked like. So as I grew up, that's the way I conveyed it to my children. Love means, you know, because a lot of times people tell you, I love you, but everything they do shows you this is what love looks like. I don't want it. You know, a father saying, I love you, but you don't pay no bills, you don't take care of nobody. You're out there with Mary Jane, or you, when it's time to come home with the money, you got something else to do with it. But I'm home hungry, but you came home and told me you love me. Love don't look like that. And that's just like, you know, I think about how God does us. When God loves us, he loves us so much that we know what love looks like. See, he died on the cross. So I said, oh, so love looks like you got to be willing to die. What you think, what you feel, you don't come first. Love looks like that. So, you know, we develop and we take from what we have, then we become who we are based on, a lot of times, just choices. You know, like some kids can take that and they go with the daddy didn't hug me, mama didn't hug me, and then they transfer that. But it's still a choice. It's still a choice. And see, what you did was, you took that thing and you said, I'm going to take this to the next level. I'm going to love my wife like I never loved anybody. I'm going to love my children. See, it's all about choices. Take what you get, what you learn, what you dish in this world.
Absolutely.
And then you take it to the next level.
That's it.
It's choices.
Yes, that's it.
So much.
You are not.
Wow.
What you say, Adrian?
You're not gonna argue with her.
Surely no argument on that.
I just kind of want to get Adrian's input on that
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
I want people to hear what he thinks about relationships.
Yes.
Mom, that was bad, that boy. I was about to piggyback, but ain't no bad.
This is dope, by the way.
Thank you.
About 3 weeks ago, I was in Atlanta, where we hosted the 4th annual Empowerment Conference.
Okay. Yes.
And I did a session called when I opened up, actually, my father was at the conference, and I shared publicly for like the first time. I said to my father, like, I want to get as close as I could get to him, that I could just go into his body, we could just be one, right? Because I recognize that no matter how I may have moved in the past, I can't run from being him, right? And I mean that in a very positive way. And I arrived there because I came to understand that part of my process has been simply just understanding that my father did the best that he could, right? My mother did the best that they could.
Right.
And I think sometimes what the challenge is, we're asking people to give us what they don't have.
Right.
And because we're socialized, right? So like how your mom talked about, like once you're socialized into a certain behavior, she saw her father demonstrate love in that behavior,
Correct.
right? So she moves on, and then she demonstrates that because that's her understanding of
Correct.
it. And because if we were looking for it to come in a different way and it came in another form,
Correct.
then sometimes we're like, that's exactly what's happening. We're looking for something to come in one way, but it comes in another.
way.
And when it looks, because it came in the blue package and we wanted it in the green package, then we like the green package, but that's the wrong package. Like it's blue, it's supposed to be. So I learned for like really, really deeply for the first time, like my father was an absolute phenomenal father. My mother was a phenomenal mother. They could not have given any more than what they had to give.
Yeah.
Point blank period. And so, but I share that to say that we are constantly evolving. And I think what Erica said is where the general conversation has led to is that part of all of our evolution is understanding that we're probably operating more out of trauma responses than we are out of a healed space.
Yeah.
And the reality is, do we even really know what a healed space looks like? Right? Who's been the example, right, of what a healed space looks like?
Right.
I mean, if we look at our parents, right, how could they have been in a most healed space depending on what their traumas were, right, as they brought us into the world?
Correct.
So I think in that process, I probably would not have ever thought to use the word that I forgave my dad, but it wasn't, I don't think it was a matter of forgiveness. I think I stopped holding him captive to the blue box that I wanted, because it came in the red box or the green box.
Yes.
And when I finally realized that, oh, let me just go ahead and unpack this green box that it came in and appreciate that, then it just feels so much better. It's like a responsibility or weight that I'm not trying to put on myself anymore. So I think all of those things kind of collide together in the fact that we're just trying to survive on a day-to-day basis and just live life. We do want to feel supported and validated, to know that we have those people around us. And as we continue to strive that and build community, then you know you end up getting the love.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna end on this. I think one of the things I've learned is, because that love is a certain energy, that a lot of times that's what we're actually looking for, is that energy. And I've learned that if you build a proper community, you can get it from the different people.
Yes.
So I don't hold the expectation from this person, but I know that if I'm hanging out with that person, I'm getting that energy. And then when I hang out with this person, I'm getting that energy. And collectively, my community provides the love that I need.
Yes.
Right? And that's why I think that's another important part.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Oh, it ended. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, that was good, y'all. Okay, because we got another question to get into, so we don't want to. Hold on 1 second. All right, so quick, you got to start with the next question, because the next question.
Oh man, even how that's.
And this is a big deal. I know Adrian gonna have something to say about this one. Erica too, cause.
Goodness gracious.
All right, go ahead, quick. Talk to the people about this question. This is a big question, y'all. Oh, we need to hear from the front table over here too. I know y'all eating, but you like you strong opinionators over
I
there.
think once they hear
I
this.
know what you're saying, Ma.
Yes. Next question, ladies and gentlemen. black men versus black women in
men
America,
versus- or men.
or vice versa, of course, just in general
Yeah.
in America. I think not so much of a standpoint, but an opinion I have on it. Man, that's such a book. That got my blood pressure up just even saying that. Black men versus black women. Or black women versus black men.
How you feeling about that, Greg? Cause that's a
I
big,
feel-
I mean, because do you feel like that's going on right now?
In a lot of ways, yeah. Yeah,
that,
I do.
that the
I do,
women
without a
are
doubt.
versus the men.
You
You feel like that, Rob?
In numerous cases, but the reason I say that is, I mean, that it could actually be any nationality in that case. It's not just black people. You know,
No, that's
I'm
what
not
I'm saying in
that.
general. Yeah.
I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, it honestly circles back really to what you were saying initially when it comes to relationships in general. Not just that significant other that you're with. I'm talking about relationships in general, the people you decide to keep around you.
Yeah.
Because the only reason it ends up becoming a versus circumstance, in my personal opinion, it has a lot to do. It's not just your experience, it's the people you keep around you too. You have a lot of cases of, well, whether that is a personal relationship or just friendships that you were trying to build with people. Let's say, for instance, respectfully stated that, you know, I have a great bond and relationship with Glenda, but Glenda has a problem with your mom. Let's say that. I'll give you that as an example, right? But me and your mama in a great place. We have a phenomenal bond. I don't have the issues that Glenda and your mama supposedly have. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of the times when it comes back to things like this, to me, this is just my personal opinion, it has a lot to do with who you decide to surround yourself with and what type of energy you decide to process. I am a grown man, and I don't care where this goes across the globe or in the galaxy. One thing I love about that bond that me and my wife have, there is an understanding of human spirit.
And I think that's
She
a
may not
beautiful
like
thing.
somebody.
But that's the thing, where it comes to you and your wife, that is a beautiful example, which is why I'm kind of trying to feel like, have you really experienced this energy of what is happening
Without
today?
doubt. I sit in numerous circles that have this going on left and
all
right.
the time.
Left and right.
And I'm thinking more, it's more like T.D. Jakes brought it up, and I know you probably heard about this because you got your ear to the ground. T.D. Jakes was talking about how today the women are so masculine, and they have such a masculine energy. And I think that where, you know, the men versus women thing, it plays a part is because of the masculine charge of where the culture of women are today. Which is why I've been, you know, just going so hard spiritually, because it's like, you know, to speak to what you were saying, I think it's a mentality. You know, a mentality of how you want to think, how you want to function, how you want to be. But the energy in the atmosphere is the mentality to be masculine, to not need a man, to not need him for anything, to be able to be independent, to be able to pay your own bills, and that's a good thing. But let me tell you my opinion on that real quick. I had to interject quick. Can I read my opinion?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
My opinion on this topic is crazy, but I gotta share it because we've been hearing it more and more, and we have some men that have been bold enough to come forward, even in this Me Too culture or this feminist time where we're living in. The women have really taken on a role that makes them look like they want to look back at the man instead of standing behind him or beside him. We are so charged that we have created anthems that encourage not just being empowered as a woman, but instead see yourself without one, and you are considered a boss chick. Now, it's one thing if you had a bad experience in a relationship and you're finding independence as a woman, as I believe it is something each human should experience as we age in life to develop properly as we go into our years of wisdom. However, what I feel is being pushed is that you don't need a man at all for not one thing, and that's where we need to talk and hear your opinions and views on the subject. Men that are seeking, men that are seeking a better understanding, he needs to do more to be able to hold a woman to a certain standard. A woman needs to be more humble when it comes to even the idea of a man. And most women are single and are kind of set in their ways. And you dare not come in trying to change the way they got stuff going on. Because I know some women who've been single for a while, that in their place, they got this set up this way, this, that, and the other. Don't come in there touching nothing. Don't come in there moving stuff around. Don't come changing my routines. I do this every morning. This how I live. This what I do. I go over there on Saturdays. And they want a man, but how? So that's so interesting to me. You look like you got an answer for that question.
It's like a get in where you fit in type thing.
It is.
Like,
And
stuff like this, so you need to get in where you fit in, that's it.
And so, what are you saying, Quick?
But what's crazy about it though is, okay, and it's nothing wrong with that. I love the independence. I love the strength. I love the sport. All that needs to balance out, but it comes back to that too. An equal understanding of 100 plus 100, a balance. You can't just say that you want specific. I want specific things in my relationship, even right now. You know, but I've grown to understand what compromise can do for your relationship. You know, you want all these amazing things with these people, but you can't even hold yourself accountable to how you feel. But you want everything in that aspect. I got a partner right now that told me left, right, bro, I don't understand why I can't find a relationship and a life and a balance like you got with your wife. I said, bro, I can tell you 8 different circumstances. 8. I've known you for 3 decades. I can tell you 8 specific women's circumstances that you completely trashed by choice. Because this one didn't have this, or this one didn't have that. Well, you never had 100% of none of that. Right. You never did.
Right.
But that's what your mindset is.
Right.
And then you turn around, and then once he got by a good so and so months alone, you know, respectfully stated, you're not gonna pay for the cow if you get the milk for free. Nah, this ain't really working out how I need. I haven't gotten over what I was going through from before. But you asked her for everything from before. You created that versus line. You, other side of the fence, had another homegirl in the same doggone situation. The same. That's the equal road on them. And that comes down to a choice. If you want to end up being in a versus circumstance in a relationship, you can end up staying in that for the rest of your life and never find what you want. I'm a true believer in we all also need to have standards too. What I don't get is that people, you have all these complaints about this not working with this and that, but you won't even do 1 or 2 things. One, you won't sit there and even try to talk, well, he ain't gonna talk to me about this, or she ain't gonna talk to me about this, but you're gonna still stay in this problematic situation. Stop bringing your problems to me. Shouldn't be bringing your problems to me in the first place. You need to be bringing that to the other person. You keep it in that versus situation. You do not have to keep it in that ultimately by both people in that relationship or circumstance. Because that can be partners. That's like with me and Adrian. I can decide to keep it at a versus situation with him. We men, we ain't supposed to be hugging like this, we ain't supposed to be talking like this, we balance that out. He is a friend of mine. I can openly say that, literally knows how I feel in that aspect. Brother, this is how I feel. This one I went through. So, but I also have friend girls like Miss Tamika, Miss Glenda too, that I know I can have that type of bond with. Some people you can't do that with, but we try so hard to keep certain people in our circles. Like, what for? What for? We all only got so much time on this planet physically. Draw a line of understanding with yourself of give 100% sheet, a 100% sheet of what you would expect. And it doesn't matter whether that person is in a personal relationship with you or that's a friend or they're all relationships. You have a choice when it comes to it. It doesn't have to be the versus part. People like keeping it that. That's society right now. You big on you still listening to this music that you listen to, you still watching these movies that you watching. I'm just saying. But you don't believe in it. You bothered by it.
Yeah.
But you still rocking with it. Man, that new Best Man coming out. But you couldn't stand that specific character, but you rock with that. You love Red in the first Best Man. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You get what I'm saying? But it really does, in my personal opinion, it comes back to being a choice in that versus. You don't have to be in that versus situation. Anytime I'm in a problematic circumstance, I'm talking about I'll be 100. I mean, I'm talking, I gave my wife hell in that aspect. You can't tell me that. You can't. You know, she kept feeding me back. Like, I'm not your history.
She said,
I get your energy and why you. At what period of time did I put you in this space? I'm just saying, no, King. At what period? That was a versus circumstance.
Yeah.
And she kept pressing that and pressing that. I need you. It wasn't even that. When you ready, you can come to me. And it wasn't even that. She kept it at it. And she studied how I operate. You know, it wasn't that. And not because we are perfect. A couple that's in there are very good friends in this corner. And they have known us quite a while now. They have seen us on all aspects of our life. That is 100% true. That's one thing I got, because I had to learn to accept accountability for my history. That's not her. And give her a chance to help me get through that situation. We talk about these things all the time, but sometimes that versus situation ends up 100% becoming a choice. Like you said, don't come in my house and change and this. Okay, but I thought this was our house. I thought we agreed on this together. So you want 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
But
Then you really don't want this with me.
But
You want me
what
versus
I was
her.
talking about with that was speaking to like the early dating relationship type of situation. I see some brothers over here in the corner. I want to hear from
this
this
my guy.
brother in the
Yes.
blazer right here.
Oh yes, you do.
He look
Yes,
like
you
he
do.
got
Come on, this my guy.
some
Come
real
on, bro. You
information
got.
to put out.
I
I
need
want to
you
know
to
what
chime
you
on
think
this.
about the men versus
Please.
women
Mike, can
today.
you-
I think you have an opinion. You
Come
look
on,
like
King.
you got one. You too, Sean.
Come on. By the way, my cat here, he got a couple of books out there in the world, all on YouTube.
See,
You know,
I knew it was
world
something.
class speaker.
I knew it was something.
See that snazziness?
Yes.
I told
Let's see
you.
what this brother gotta
I
say.
run with some magically delicious
But they
people.
need to respect you, brother. What? Let's hear from
Sure
you.
enough. Why you show me if you don't mind, King?
So I had a concern pertaining to the title, men versus, and I think that's where it starts. It shouldn't be versus. That's competition versus completion. So when you look at sports, it's Chicago Bulls versus. You want to have a winner. So you can't win. So we gotta rephrase that statement and just say men and women instead of men versus women, because automatically you're gonna have a winner and a loser. Anytime you have a winner and a loser in a relationship, nobody wins.
But do you see that happening today? Do
It's
you see
based
it
on-
where the women have a mentality and the men have a certain mentality, and it looks like a versus
Well,
in
once
the
again,
state?
it goes back to the genesis, and oftentimes it's predicated upon how you were raised, your experiences, your exposure, and there's something that I have come to the realization of pertaining to. It's called fault versus responsibility, right? So some things are not my fault, but it's my responsibility.
Come on,
Right? So let's just say you're in a situation where, let's just say hypothetically speaking, your parent might not have spent a lot of time with you. Because back in the day, a man had 3 roles, right? My dad, 80 years old, my mom, 79. So back in the day, a man had 3 roles. As long as I put a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food on the table, I've done my job. But there's an emotional perspective. It's called emotional IQ that people need as well. So we had to evolve, right? So I hear that word trauma. There's a lot of things going on. We all came up in a dysfunctional environment, okay? But we got to find a way to get to that healing, because hurt people. And I think that's a lot of the things that are taking place in relationships are just the fact that hurt people. And because we have not healed and gotten to a space or a place where we can love, that's going to continue to be reciprocated. But back to fault versus responsibility. Some things are not our fault, right? But it becomes your responsibility. And you have to be able to understand it's not your parents' fault that they did this or they did that. But it's your responsibility to make sure that you don't replicate that situation and you don't repeat, but you delete, so that you don't pass it on to that next generation. So there's something that's called repeat, delete, replace. RDR. What is it?
Repeat, delete, replace.
So I'm going to repeat the things that were done that were good. I'm going to delete the things that were done that were bad. And I'm going to replace them with something else. So that we are able to make sure that we get to that next generation and we don't continue to create that generational
Curse.
and make it a generational blessing.
That's it. Come on, bro. What's your name?
My name is Mr. Hodge, and I'm a true motivator. No, I'm not a drug, but a mind stimulator. Are you sure you want to debate this great debater? Because the only one greater is my creator. Now I have the spirit of Frederick Douglass or Marcus Garvey. And every day I dress fresh like my man Steve Harvey.
Fit right on my chest.
That's all right. Thank you so much. Yeah, so real quick, I just want to hear from one more person on this question, and anybody can chime in if they want to. But Erica, what you think about this subject? This one right here, because you know, I know you got a lot of wisdom in your head.
Don't do Erica again. Don't do Erica.
Get the one in the back who was clapping.
Oh, the one in the back.
Who was starting the clapping?
Erica gonna say something too, though. No, she told me Erica already stood up.
Hold on, Miss Erica.
Well,
It's yours, right?
I'm just briefly gonna kind of touch on basically what the young man just said. It is basically, like he said, no versing. We as people have to understand, going back to Adam and Eve, our purpose. When a man doesn't know his purpose and a woman doesn't know her purpose, then when we try to get into a relationship nowadays, roles are entwined. So when you go back to Proverbs 37 on how a woman is supposed to react, and if you go back to the Bible and our basic instructions before leaving earth will tell you a role of a man. A lot of times the role as a man, well, we as women, I can just go back to say with my grandmother from starting. When I used to see her press my grandfather's clothes, or when I would see her making his food, or I would see my grandfather going out from the day dawn, out there working till he's tired and hands are shaking, and I'm watching and looking, trying to understand, and I'm like, Grandma, I know you're tired. Why you iron his clothes? Grandpa can iron his own clothes. She was teaching me a woman of submissiveness. Well, when a woman doesn't know how to be submissive, then you take on the role as a man, and that's not the way God created it to be. And what we have to fail to understand is the role of what a woman can be, a man can't be. And the role of what a man can be, a woman can't be. And the way God created, remember, God created man first. And if you understand the meaning of woman was pulled out of man. So man was first. So man will always be first. God made him ruler over everything. But the problem is that if we as women take on that role, then the man will not take on his place. And a lot of times, I do understand women as trauma and different things happen. So what we tend to do is we tend to take on that role because we don't have a man figure. But we have to understand it is not for us to stay in that role. It is just a meanwhile until God brings that Adam into your life. And then at that point, then you can basically sit down and do what you need to do as a woman.
Come on now. Come on now. Quick quote. Shout out to DJ Sco in the building.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, listening to the different ones who said, I think that, and when I deal with a lot of different women, I think the problem when a person don't know who they are and they're confused about who they are. But then when it comes to relationships, what makes a lot of people, or women, men, seek in verses and go and try to compete is the fact that they don't know who they are. So we have to, we can't, I can't look at your relationship and say that's what a relationship looks like. I can't look at her relationship or their relationship and say that's what a relationship looks like. That's what happiness looks like. That's where the problem comes in. When we're trying to make it look like the picture that they have created for us that looks like happy. Everybody has to know that their happy doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell, I was talking with a young lady and I was trying to explain to her. You know, she's thinking, you know, this, I'm trying to get to this and I'm trying to get to that. And I said, well, your relationship may not look like their relationship.
Right.
Their relationship looks different, but you find you're happy in what you got. The reason why we're competing because we're trying to get what somebody else got. I talked to a young man who was complaining about his wife, and he's complaining about, you know, she ain't this, she ain't that. So when you married her, you knew who she was. Right. Why are you trying to make her something else? You agreed to who she was. Now you're looking at what this people have, and you think that that's what I want. But that just may not be what's designed for you.
Yes.
So I think we have to understand and come to the resolution of working with who we got and stop competing and trying to make our happy look like somebody else's happy.
Man, happy.
What's good for you might not be good for me.
So enough.
That's right.
That's what she's saying. See, we got this thing called everybody got to follow one absolute, one
Right.
rule. And that, oh, go ahead, my brother, because I don't want you to stand. But the thing about it is, we have to understand when you are in a relationship with two people, you have to do what's in the best interest of those two people. You have to make it work for y'all.
Yeah.
I can't follow your plan in my house.
Yes.
You know, so sometimes what happens is we say, men supposed to do this, women supposed to do this.
Right.
No, you have to figure out who you dealing with, and y'all make it work for y'all.
I agree. I agree.
That's the truth. That's the truth. We have, that was dope, y'all. We have one more question that we want to open up for discussion. Did you want me to do something?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
If y'all don't mind, ladies
you
and
have
gentlemen,
that,
it is without a doubt something I need done.
I'm going to do some
It's good
spoken
work.
word real quick, y'all.
You're going to have to. They missed on the first edge with me, but I knew I'd be able to catch them back with you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, South Florida's very own, one and only, Mr. Elena the poet. I don't even know why she getting that mic stand. She don't need it. No. She don't need it. Anybody that know Elena don't need that mic.
No,
not right now.
I like it. I like it. Get the mic.
I'm going to get the mic. I'm going to get this track.
No, you know she don't need that mic.
Quick, give me this mic.
No, it's no problem. Yes, ma'am.
I can't have
What's some of that snapper, man? The way everybody eating through that snapper.
Did you order our food?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I apologize. But you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to fix things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Would you prefer the snapper or these good wings?
I'm doing that snapper.
You gonna, okay.
Go ahead, baby.
I hear about my boy Skill
step on down for the
yes.
people. Yeah. Look at Casey. Hi, Casey. You ain't talking yet. Come on, bitch. The color of my soul is like out in my soul, in 1980. I'm a real 80s baby. Time took me through life, but experience made me wiser. That's why when casting out those demons, I keep my right hand on the Bible, because they are all around me. But there's something about being called and chosen. Man, it keeps that devil frozen when his heat tries to get close to me. See, I'm a black woman, I have responsibilities, I have goals to meet, so I think on these things. I think on these things that they would manifest in my heart, knowing that what I feed my mind is where it starts. So I feed her strength. I took one bite and I began to feel stronger. I felt like I could hold on just a little bit longer. So I fed her courage, because the two, they go hand in hand. Then I realized I don't need a friend or a man to stand on my own 2 feet. I started off walking to my own beat. I looked down, saw that my shoes was on my own 2 feet, and if they fit too tight or they don't feel right, it would only be hurting me. And yes, I made a few left turns in life, but I'm proud to say I ain't never been to jail. And I make sure that I repent, because what's more important to me is that I don't end up in hell. See, I got plans to see Pastor Elroy Barber. He was a spiritual father. And I got plans to see my grandpa. Oh, y'all, he was everything my family was taught to stand for. You see, my grandma, she's still here. Right there. Hey, grandma. But every year, we all shed a tear around May. See, that's grandpa's birthday. And then again in June, because that's when we lost him. And I got plans to see the great Dr. Martin Luther King. I got to tell him that his dream only got us for so far. Still a lot of hate going on, and racism is still strong. But then I would sit them all down, I would admire their crowns, and I would say, I would sing like my soul was black skin, yet as sweet as the angels that dance around us. And I would sing loud enough to drown out all the noise around us, letting them know that tune was especially for them. Oh, but then I turned to Jesus, because I have a song especially for him. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Use me. See, I gave him my heart and my soul a long time ago, and I always been original, somewhat traditional, but my intuition is rarely missing, y'all. I'm walking in this vision with his permission. I say I'm walking in this vision with his permission. Never dismissing my mission, intentions, purpose, to be of his service and go that's on my first album, Purpose, and he is the engineer, so shout out
Absolutely.
to Adrian.
Absolutely.
We gonna jump right back in,
Yes,
y'all.
yes. On that
Quinn,
final question.
you got that last question?
I think I misplaced it if we're gonna be transparent.
What they say about the Quinn?
Yes, be honest in a relationship. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what y'all asked for, right?
I
So
know.
we had the third one though. Okay, there it is.
There we go.
There it is, assistance support. We support
hold
each
each
other.
other up.
Yes, absolutely. What needs to change in your community? And how can we affect change? A lot.
That's a big one, y'all.
A lot. You know, we I guess just speaking lightly from experience. I myself, I came up in the Royal Palm area, then in the Westwood, then Lockdale, then Deep Side, Lauderdale.
That real Lauderdale.
Yeah, sure enough, true Lauderdale. Then back over to the camp. Come on, man. Come on, city boy. You know what I mean? Just they don't even understand. Don't even understand. But then over to Canberra Square and the shallow side, then back to Westwood. And in the time frame, the reason I say all of them is that I face, challenging days like anybody else, but really good days too as well. I think more for me when I go back to the neighborhood in itself, I do want more to change. Some things that sadden me is that, life is gonna be life, and how you decide to move forward is up to you. I have some friends that still never left the city, They're still down here in South Florida because they're used to life, because at least in their understanding that things aren't truly going to change overall, but they can. You have to make a choice at some period of time of how you're going to move forward, There gonna be some gonna move forward with you, and there's some people you gotta leave behind. Everybody not going with you. And that's an understanding that you have to really get to too. And I think it comes back to a lot of what we talked about with everything, but it's the mindset part of it all.
Yeah.
How in addition to what we're talking about, what are we going to also do about it too? That's first I go back to the city too. To help us as often as I can, especially when it comes through my companies, but we can't, like they said, what I think with Matumbo, who spent all the money back in his country or something like that, like, well, he can't save the country. Well, the truth is he can't by himself, but if everybody got together, and really, and it's not just about the financial part. It's the emotional part.
Right.
It really is.
And I was saying to that question, when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, well, how does this apply to me? Because, how can I affect change? But when I think about my actions, my daily actions, when it comes to my direct community, I go home and go in the house. And you don't about me, I don't about you. I'm in the house and ain't nothing else outside that is my concern. Now, as a poet, of course, I'm giving back and doing all these other things, but what about the actual community that I live in? I know it's stuff going on outside, right outside there. And it's like, when I think about that, what can I do to make a difference with that? Casey, you want to say something? I don't think we can reach the mic. Come on up here, Casey.
It's yours.
It's me. Okay.
First and foremost, I'm gonna say ECPS proud country school board. The reason I said that sentence right there. Sit strong, actually. No, I want to say that because right now we're in a time where our youth are getting ready to go back to school. We need to be more proactive in our schools. It don't matter how small, how big. Sometimes it's just helping the kid out with financial, those small things, toiletries, a pillow, a hot meal, something. During this pandemic, there was over, I want to say, roughly 27,000 kids that went under the school board radar. Not just in Brown, this is just a number I'm throwing out. And it's taken a year and a half to try to get back to the education where they're supposed to be at today. It's my job to make sure your kids are safe each and every day. But it's also my job to tell your kids to get in class and get their work done, get all they can get done. I need that same support, that same energy. That's how we give them back to this community. The futures of tomorrow, today, tomorrow. And the ones that getting ready to go into school, call them up. That's my time.
I respect that. As a fellow educator, what I really respect about what Casey said is with us doing it all together. I've been in education for 13 years, and just watching it, that's arguably, somebody's child's life all the way from, elementary school all the way through. And what was sad, but we can do a great thing about it is, like this whole pandemic circumstance came in, they created all these opportunities, of what they can do from the house, and and they can get their work done from the house and everything. But during that period of time, what has taken place in your own household across the board didn't realize was that ball got dropped in an extreme manner. They still got their payments for their schools. They did. Let's be clear on that. Salaries didn't shoot through the moon for no teachers and no administrators. Life is life. Regardless of them being responsible for almost every career in the world. But that's a whole nother subject on another day I can run you. But we have to do the best. I can't say so much of a better job, because like you said, Elena, when we're in the house, we're in the house. I have children. I'm not by myself, I got 4 and the missus. But what we can do collectively as a whole is work better in the aspect of what we've been offered with that. With these kids in the schools and stuff, because right now, even with the ones coming back, I got someone that told me literally today, nah, man, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get me a job, I'm just going to get my GED. And I explain to these young people, listen, I'm not saying you cannot be successful with your GED. There are many people that are successful with that GED. What I have to make sure I beat in their head with an understanding is, you just don't walk in and take a test and walk out the door. With the GED, you still got to go to school. You got to go to school more than you do in even the traditional program. Because anybody in the traditional program, if they really know the truth, if your kid went to school 4 days in the year, that school will keep your kid the entire year. So it's not so much just the schools. It really comes back, like Casey said, in our communities, where we got to figure things out in a better formality for ourselves, our family, and our kids and our community. But that comes with us being consistent about it too, because they're used to us being inconsistent. Oh, this today. Oh, I can be on TikTok. Oh, I can be on Facebook. Oh, I can be on Instagram. I can be the superstar with all this other stuff. But they're not thinking about it. I had to explain to a young man, I don't care how many followers you have on a social network. Son, you can't read. Okay? Well, Miss Evans, I got this bag. I say, well, let me tell you what's gonna happen to your bag. No different than anybody else that hit the lottery with your nonsense, because you don't have it. Let's be for real. That part, you're gonna spend your time paying other folks to help take care of your business matters, and your money gonna just consistently swirl. It's not like you can read your contract effectively and know what's going on with you. All you see is that money at the bottom of the page. Man, that's a $500,000 deal. Oh man, that's amazing. But you're not reading through the fine print of what comes with that. And if they offered you that, you would probably get 10, 20 times that, to be honest. We just have to continue to do a better job. Like Casey said, we work together on this educational part, but it takes a village. It really does. We all got to work better in that aspect when it comes to our kids. Protect our future. Protect our future and our energy.
So the question is, what can we do better for our communities? Yeah. I think doing something, period. Something, because I think all of it is broken, right? And if we, from a scriptural sense, we understand that after the fall, right, if that's what we prescribe to, it's all been broken ever since, right? So when somebody says, back in the days it was so much better, there's, in my perspective, there's never been a better back in the days. You go to that place in time, You're gonna always be met with the historical space, right? Exactly. You're gonna always be hit with back in the day, right? You're always gonna be hit with the historical, the current social, the political climate, the religious climate. You're gonna always be hit with that in that time, right? And what the financial situation is. So I encourage people to do something, because all of it is broken. Do something. I think it's the doing nothing that I think is problematic for the community. So when I say something is, if it's advocated in the space of financial literacy, right? If it's advocated in the space of learning how to build communities through real estate, right? And developing a group. If it's advocated in the space of education, like what's been talked about, or advocating in the space of entertainment. I'm be honest with you, because I know you, I'm happy you went home and you stay in the house, because you don't need to be out the house after you get in the house. That's what I was thinking when you said that, right? Because you do what you do outside of the house, right? Correct. So it's not our responsibility to try to do everything.
Right.
But I do think it's our responsibility to find that thing. And do that.
And I think that's what I think is the main thing, that mentality. It's just knowing that you have to do something to contribute, regardless of what that is. And I know that we live in a time where you got what they call the Karens and the people that no matter what you try to do, it's gonna upset someone. If you're trying to make a difference, somebody's gonna see some type of fault in that, like, what is she doing over here in our community? You know, but somebody started Neighborhood Watch, somebody started these groups and different things like that. And I think the mentality is that you just have to make a decision to want to see change, and then go from there. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else had anything they want to say on that question? Tamika, what you saying? You ain't saying nothing. Mark, you good?
Absorbing.
Well, you know, I heard Quick say
Yes, ma'am.
that part. I would say, everybody just say I do, not that part, my part.
Yes.
Oh, man. You don't need to hang out more. Me and your mama.
I'm telling you, that's the author Valerie Williams,
Yes.
y'all. That's the author there.
My part.
Not that part. Everybody just do my part.
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
I think we hit on great time.
Yes.
All three of the questions.
We are.
We did. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have been absolutely amazing. Y'all have made this experience unique in its own time.
Yes.
You know, I'm glad I already have my hat off to it. You know, this queen here, you know, for her to have reached out to me and come up with this idea, everything come with a seed, you know, and it grow into something however you decide to water it and take care of it and put the sun on the moon and the stars. And this is the beginning of something new and unique. And we look forward to bringing it back. And all we ask is that you all do, you know, is respectfully say that you do your part and you come back.
Yes.
And elevate, pass the word. Let folk know the experience that you had. Listen, you need to go. This is what you're going to experience. You know, amazing energy, vibe. And the best part about it all was the informative growth and the united part of it all. Like the input from the kings and the queen. No, it's just the women and no. The kings and the queens in here. Giving input, you know, and as you can see, your children also are allowed to as well.
That's it.
It rocked out perfect. Love y'all.
Thank y'all so